Inhale deeply. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Satguru Name, Sri Gurudeve Name. Adguru Name, Jugadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Gurudeve Name. Adguru Name, Jugadguru Name, Satguru Name, Sri Gurudeve Name. Satnam. So, we have fingers on our hands, and this is the finger that the yogis called the Saturn salute. And if there was a great opportunity, they would do this to each other. And literally what it meant was, learn your life lessons through the circuit of challenge rather than through the inspiration of joy. And what it means today is not what it means at all. But if you notice, the Saturn finger is the longest finger on your hand, which means that as an antenna, it's picking up the most energy. And until evolution changes that, what you have is you have this Saturn finger, which can be used in so many different mudras that can help to create that which is already created, and that is that the Saturn finger is supported in between all of the other planetary influences, Mercury, Sun, Jupiter, and the id, or your id entity, that identity of yourself, which is the opposing thumb. The cycle of Saturn around the Sun is approximately 28 years, and so from the initiation of a Saturn return to the conclusion of a Saturn return, it's usually thought of to be somewhere between your 27th year and your 29th year. And that is the nature of Saturn return. Well, Saturn is returning to the space where you were born through. That position in the sky, which is now the same position that it was when you were born. And once I asked Yogi Bhajan why birthing was such a trauma, to go through the birth canal. Your skull has to collapse from what it is down to this much smaller shape in order to fit through that birth channel. And in order to do that, all of the bones of your skull literally collapse around the sutures or around the joints of your skull. And then if you've ever seen a child born, their head is all like a raisin when they first come out. And then instantaneously, it pops back to its full expression. Now, I don't know of any other event in your life that's going to do that to you. You know, I mean, there might be some that you psycho-emotionally equate to that, but there is no event in your life where you've got to stick your head through an opening that is about half the size of your head. You know, this is unrealistic. But what the Saturn return, when it comes back around 27 through 29 years later, it basically is reintroducing your ability, now with 20-some years of experience in life, it's reintroducing your ability to get through tight spots in life. What is a tight spot? A spot with great ease or a spot with challenge? So when you're moving through, can you turn off the AC? When you're moving through these tight spots in life, that's when that Saturnian nature is going to assist you. Yogi Bhajan referred to himself as a Saturn teacher. Basically, we just referred to it as being a jerk. Because there was nobody that could be a friendlier jerk than Yogi Bhajan that I ever met in my life, you know. He could have this huge smile while he's yelling at you to keep up and to do something, whether it was a yogic posture or a task out there in the world. I can remember one time that I was his roofer, his driver, his gopher, his diver, his this and his that. And it was like I never had a chance to sleep. And I was asking him, I said, "So sir, when can I play my guitar?" And he said, "Well, what's wrong with 1 a.m.? I said, "But I'm getting to bed about 11 and you usually call me around 2. He says, "Okay, that works out then. Gives you an hour to play the guitar before I call." That's what the life can do to you. So if your teacher puts you through that kind of a challenge, then that Saturnian return is of no challenge to you. And that's why he said the birthing process was the most difficult, where Saturn is in its position of your birth chart. The birthing process was the most difficult that you will ever go through in your life, because if you can master that first effort, that first Saturnian effort of a lesson learned with a tremendous challenge, that you would be able to accommodate any other challenge in your life. So imagine between 27 and 28, between 54 and 56, then it's into your 80s. You have these returning opportunities. But you have to also understand that as human beings in a very toxic environment, we're living to around just beyond half of what a life expectancy should be. A life expectancy in a true physical environment should be around 150 years. But we're getting people, on average in the 70s and 80s. And then they're checking out early. So they haven't even reached that third return of the Saturnian energy. And it's through, one of the things that is coming out in medicine is they say that aging is directly related to the health of your spine. Wow. How many people have you heard say, "I have a bad back"? You don't have a bad back, you have a back that's unattended. You haven't been tending to the needs of your spine. So if you are very conscious and cognizant of how your body lines up, one of the things that you notice is that in addition to the Saturn finger being aligned with Saturn, the major joints in your body, which are your shoulder joints and your hip joints, are also aligned with Saturn, because these are the ways in which you can either align your pelvis, which is connected to your purpose, or align your shoulders, which are aligned with your ability to carry the weight of your world. And so yogis realized that these 4 major joints were going to become the way in which they could ensure themselves to live to the appropriate age. Because if you check out early, like 70, 80, 90 years old, you're going before the real wisdom arises in you. There's this genealogical condition that children, until they have passed through the majority of puberty, are not capable of empathy. They can learn by the reward system, the reward and punishment system, that it is appropriate to be nice. And they find themselves somehow being punished if they're not nice, and somehow being rewarded if they are nice. But at 16 years old, around that age, is when that genealogy, the gene system, kicks in to your empathic genes, being able to truly feel the feelings of others. But what's happening in today's world is that we're producing a lot of what would be called sociopaths. Because in the midst of all of this developmental ability that is really, really strong in that pubescent period, what are we doing? We're targeting them with marketing, because we know that they're less inclined to say no when provided with some opportunity to purchase happiness. But it's not actually happiness, it's pleasure. It's the happiness imitation. And it doesn't last. And it doesn't come from within, so it doesn't have any capacity to be produced by yourself. It can only be produced by you trying to strive for something outside of yourself. So that's 12 years before the midst of your first Saturn return. And if you don't correct that, reaching for the benefit outside yourself, by the time your first Saturn return appears, Saturn will beat you to a pulp between the ages of 27 and 30, 27 and 29. And that's when a lot of children feel unprepared for the world. I can remember how many people felt at the turn of their 30th year, they said, wow, this feels like I think I was supposed to feel at either 18 or 21. Because we try to preserve youth by discounting wisdom. And there is nothing that can create more wisdom than prevailing through a challenging situation. Because when you prevail through a challenging situation, you learn how to use the complex nature of your emotional body by applying courage with determination and a sprinkling of equilibrium. That's one recipe, right? Think about all the different recipes you could use to move through a challenging space. You could use sheer anger modulated by grace, what our friend Ram Dass calls fierce grace. Or, if you didn't want to use that much fire, maybe you would use your vast intuition to anticipate the moves that are outside of you, so that you could introduce the angles that would allow you to tactfully tack through the space. That is the reason for Saturn returns, to provide you those circumstances in which you are not only supported, but you are embraced by all of the other planets. And if you pay attention to that embrace, then the embrace will assist you. It's the idea of what you believe in, you receive. What you believe, you receive. One of the equations that really works during a Saturn return is the equation of your genealogy supporting you from underneath, which is the physical body coming together, with your cosmology supporting you overhead. I mean, overhead and underneath is just a metaphor because there are no directions and positions within infinity. But that is your soul body. And your soul body comes together with your physical body at the first positioning of that Saturnian energy. And it leads to, from your conception into your birthing. And then from then on, if you believe in it, you have all of your genealogical ancestry supporting you physically, with all of your cosmological angels, masters, messiahs, prophets, gurus, guides, whatever you want to call them, power animals, etc., that are guiding you as if they are the puppet strings that are keeping you just above the fray. And that's where the position of the Saturn finger rides on your palmistry. Look at what you have. You've got astrology, Saturn, you've got palmistry, and you've got numerology. All of these, I don't know how subtle they are, but they call them subtle sciences. They're really fierce, and they really apply themselves to you. And if you use them, if you believe in them, you can use them. How many of you don't believe in the brakes in your car? What if you were from a completely different culture and you'd never seen an automobile before, and the person that told you, okay, put the key in there, turn it on, and see that long pedal there? That's what will make it go. But they never told you what could make it stop. And you just thought that if you took your foot off the gas, that the car would stop going. And wouldn't you be surprised to learn after your first accident, which would take place on your first day of driving, guaranteed. Wouldn't you be surprised to learn that there was something that could come into play if you had only known it was there and believed that it would work? So think about that we have been inserted in these vehicles, these physical body vehicles, and we have never been told where the system is to navigate those massive difficulties, that Saturnian system that could navigate these difficulties in life, where you could put on some brakes, where you could create some intentional stress and pressure that would be able to mold your circumstance to shape its outcome. Imagine that. And then you realize what you have is you have your physical system with all of those things that may not register in medical science, but are truly a part of your anatomy. Which is that we talked about the four main joints, the two hips and the two shoulders. These hips are a complex equation, algorithm, let's say, between your intention on the left thigh, your motivation on your right thigh, and the purpose that sits in your pelvis. And so when you are working with this incredible Saturnian joint system, you're working with intention, motivation, and purpose. And that's what takes place in your first Saturn return, in your second Saturn return, in your third Saturn return, in your fourth Saturn return, in your 5th Saturn return, and in your 6th Saturn return, because it's a hexagram, just like the I Ching. And you're meant to have 6 of these wisdom makers, these wisdom creators, 6 of these opportunities, because with 6 of these incredible Saturnian returning, listen to this one, Saturnian returnian, give me a hand. With 6 of these, I just made that up, with 6 of these Saturnian returnian conditions, you're gifted with sufficient wisdom to navigate the cosmos when you've left the body, just like you've had to navigate the cosmos by entering the body. And the way that you navigate the cosmos by entering the body is by receiving, by believing. Yogis for centuries, for thousands of years, have said that we're genetically influenced by 7 generations. And if you do the math, 2 parents, 4 grand, 8 great-grand, and so on, you come up with 254 ancestors on 7 generations. But now medical science is discovering that the frequency of DNA is still existing 14 generations downline. Well, the math is exponential because it doubles every generation. And when you go through 14 generations, the number of ancestors that are influencing you are 32,766. That is a football stadium filled with fans that are all related to you and cheering you on in your liberative qualities. Now, some of them were complete jerks. I could have used a worse term, but we're being filmed. So just for the sake of the fact that the film is on, because some of them were so nasty. All those generations ago when the laws weren't, and there was no Me Too and everything was very patriarchal and oh my God, it was just really creepy, right? But think about it. Regardless of all of those characteristics, the character inside of 32,766 lives has a tremendous amount of prana, even if they only live to 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Imagine a lifetime of prana, a lifetime of life force that is still available to you because it's vibrating within your DNA. Infinity is infinite everywhere, always. And that means that there is no diminishing of the power of infinity, which means that all of those ancestors are still there, because the only thing that creates past, present, and future is our sensory system dividing up the continuum of time. So you've got this incredible blessing of over 32,000 ancestors. You are setting yourself up with Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. You are setting yourself up, like we're going to use in the Saturnian Kriya that we'll do this evening, to filter out, to deflect all of those challenges that the ancestors brought to your life. And what you're receiving from their life is the pure life force of their life. Wow. I look at it as a gigantic mosh pit where you have 32,000 people with their shoulders holding you up. And you're walking on top of 32,000. I felt the earth move under my feet. Yeah? That's what you can literally experience when you believe in this system that for the most part people haven't been taught about, because now they're, can he read at 2 years old? All we want people to be able to do are those logical, measurable events. What about, can the child belly laugh at 14? Or is it so cynical by then that the ability to belly laugh has been lost. What about belly laughing at the age of 28 when you're going through a Saturn return and all you've got going on is ha 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 ha, which is the beginnings of that hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Right hand. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. It's a 12 count. Hot, 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 hotty. It's bringing the belly up. Hot, 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 hot. It's the equivalent of a belly laugh. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Pull the belly with each hot. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. Hot, 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 hotty. One more time. Hot, 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 hotty. That hut hut mantra is the equivalent of a good belly laugh. If you do it properly and if you do it with hut, 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 because The laughing and the crying is the ha. And laughing and crying brings the energy, and that's what it's meant to do. It brings the energy from the base of your being up into your heart. If you're crying, your heart is asking for help. If you're laughing, your heart is offering help. What happens is you put the R on it, and then the request actually continues up, because the heart, the fascia of the heart, continues on up into the fascia of your tongue. And so the R at the end of ha, ha ha ha, goes to har, 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 takes the energy and continues it up through the system into your tongue against the roof of your mouth where you're trilling the end of the R. So it's har, 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 and that's why it was called a name of God, because it takes the energy all the way up through your system. Now, think about the Saturn return, because if all your energy is doing is coming up through the system, and it's spewing out through the system like Lord Shiva with the fountain of Kundalini coming out through the crown of the head. But if you notice, there is also this thing called the vagus nerve, which vagus means to wander. It wanders through the body. It's also where the word vagabond comes from, the wanderer. And the vagus nerve is the largest of the four main nerves in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system of taking a step back, seeing the bigger picture, contemplating the results and the actions that are needed. It's the meditative quality, as opposed to the act-react quality, which is the sympathetic nervous system. That's why it's called sympathetic, because sympathetic is that which reacts to the action. Sympathetic strings on a sitar react to the plucked strings on a sitar. They're the strings that run underneath the keyboard. And so you have this parasympathetic nervous system, which is really the system that's going to get you through your Saturn return. Because Yogi Bhajan said, a bulldozer is the key to Kundalini. You need to know when to bull and when to doze. A bulldozer, for those of you that English wasn't your first language, is a big earth mover that they demolish houses with and that they build roads with, right? What he said was, in your Saturn return, there may be a need to bull. In other words, to bull your way through. But there may be a need to doze, which means to literally navigate your way through, right? Just a dream time kind of navigation. So imagine this har, 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 har as a mantra for the Saturn return. As a mantra for every moment that you get into challenge. How many times have you seen a very challenging situation and burst out laughing? Yes? Haven't we all done that? I mean, that challenging situation is like so ridiculous that you go, really? You know, it's like your whole system just reacts with this humor, like, you gotta be kidding. You gotta be joking. Well, what do you do with a good joke? You laugh. So it is a joke, but also you might tend to cry. You might tend to be overwhelmed. And both of those situations are going to bring the energy from the base to give you the ability to see your way through the heart brain and then the head brain. So you have this gut brain going hut, hut, bringing it up into your heart brain, which is circulating and navigating, and then bringing it up to your head brain, which is filled with that analysis. This is what we must start teaching in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, and in college. Otherwise, we will end up with human-activated climate crisis that's destroying humanity. Sound familiar? Because we are not educating for that true Saturnian revelation. We are educating for that Saturnian annihilation. The great taskmaster is in Saturn. And if you don't revelate, you will become annihilate. If you don't rise to the occasion, you will be smothered by the occasion. If you don't rise above, you're going to be swept underneath. And that is literally why the yogis depicted the wave of the moment, that every single moment has every single psycho-emotional as well as physical opportunity. You can be in the commotions of chaos. You can be in the sufferings of anger, of cold depression, which can only be alleviated through hot anger. If somebody tells you, stop being so angry, tell them, live your own life. My anger is a tool. I'm just learning how to use it. Thank you for the practice. And then once you go through those sufferings that are forcing you through that Saturnian energy to kindle a flame or be crushed and annihilated, if you kindle that flame through your sufferings, like the Buddha said, you arise into your determinations. And that is what this is. That Saturn finger is determined. How is it determined? It's determined by the guidance of all of these other fingers. That's why it sits in the middle. And so as you find your center point at that Saturnian time, which is in your late 20s, mid-50s, early 80s, early hundreds, early 120s, probably late 120s or maybe 130s, and then your late 140s or whatever, 50s, and then you're in your 160s, And how long we have been fooling ourselves into thinking, well, he lived a good long life. It was time for him to go at 97. No. It was an early death caused by a toxic world. So what we'll need to do, the real lesson in all of this, is we need to channel our energy like that Saturnian teacher was teaching us, like that Saturn return brings to us, like that Saturn finger tells to us. And that is that we must channel that energy in order to enable the wisdom that comes from struggle. Because at the top of struggle, what you end up with is determination. And sufficient determination leads to certainty. And enough certainty leads to boredom. And boredom is the Buddha's middle path. Because out of no extremes, just that solace of boredom, comes balance. And from balance, you can lean into the sweet spot of the wave that will then start carrying you with the influence of all of these millions of angelic guides and 32,766 genealogical supporters. This is life. This is human life, lived in an enlightened state. Not 24-hour news cycle that are all broadcasting. These people that the news is about are the perfect example of the Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, truth is called what you can convince someone of. Makes sense? I mean, people are saying, you've lied 10,000 times. Well, there's still millions and millions of people that are believing it. We are watching, depicted before our cosmic awareness. We are watching just the play of how the physical world operates. There is really no such thing as truth if it's all illusion. Yogis even claim the sound of truth is the inhale. You add any sound to the exhale, it's an opinion. It may be a proven opinion with many instances of proof, but you're still proving an opinion within an illusion, using illusion as the mechanism of proof. I almost said as the mechanism of poof. Because that's literally what the proof is. The proof is just poof. So honor those times, every 27, 28 years, in which you actually have to fit through the super tight spots. And every one of those times, you are completely guided and completely supported if you believe in it. Just like in every car, hopefully, there is a brake that you can use if you believe in it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Good. So let's do the Kriya that's going to give you the capacity to fit through tight spots. Get to work. Get to work. You can stay. You can stay. Everybody else, well, you know what? Get back here. That's your work this time. Get back here. Yeah. Should we have some live background music for our hardship of Saturn? Well, we'll start out easy. Just let's open up those. See, watch this. Watch this. I'm going to open up my shoulders as I'm going around in the Sufi grind. And I'm definitely opening up my hips, my hip joints. So open up all 4 of those main Saturnian joints. Reverse the direction. Reverse the direction again. Long and deep breathing. One last time, reverse the direction. Inhale up, keep playing. Exhale. Now put your Saturn finger underneath your thumb. The other 3 fingers are straight. Extend it out to the side. Tiny circles, breath of fire. Reverse the direction your arms are twirling. Powerful breath of fire. Again, reverse the directions. Inhale. Exhale. Let your hands rest on your knees. Redistribute the tension in your shoulders and arms. Relax your breathing. And now take your hands and hook them together in a bear grip. And you're going to exhale, and the right elbow goes down, the left comes up. And you're going to inhale and you reverse it. And these are going to be rotating right around your hands, which are right in front of the upper chest. So we're working the shoulder joints in this, which are crossroads of that Saturnian energy. So it's you don't have to pull hard on your arms. You just have to keep the hands so that it doesn't wander all over the place. It just keeps moving. Ang Sang Wa He Guru, 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 Ang Sang Wa He Guru. You're relieving the weight of your world. Getting through that tight place. Getting through that tight place. Hey Guru, Ang Sang Wa 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 Hey. One more minute. Sang Wa Hey Guru, Ang 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 Sang Wa Hey Guru. Everybody chanting Hey Guru, Ang Sang Wa Hey Guru, Ang Sang Wa Hey Guru, Hang Sang Wa He 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 Guru. 15 seconds. Wa He Guru, Hang Sang Wa He Guru, Hang Sang Wa He. Inhale. Raise your arms up. Exhale. Let them down. Just experience, because even in that Saturn return, there'll be moments of grace for rejuvenation purposes. The Saturn return has also been equated to the winter solstice, which is the time of year that we're going through at this time. That time in which deep wisdom guides you. Because at winter, in the depth of winter, there is no external solar energy that is there to guide you like there is at summer solstice. It's all about solar energy. And the Saturnian, think of the word Saturn. It is Sat. It is that breath. But it's that breath in the depth of pressure. The breath in the depth of pressure is birthing. Birthing into breathing. That's what winter solstice, this time of year in the northern hemisphere, is. And then it's the opposite. Winter solstice in the southern hemisphere is 6 months later, when the sun is furthest away from them. And now what I want you to do is come into crow pose. Put your 2 Saturn fingers and just hook them, and the other fingers are held in place by your thumbs, and the Saturn fingers are together, and this is right in front of you. And you're going to be doing breath of fire, bouncing in crow pose. Pull between your fingers about 10 to 15 pounds. It's not a huge amount of pressure. Keep your head up. Pump the navel point. Last minute. In the midst of the pressure, feel the rhythm. Feel the rhythm. Inhale. Exhale. Lie down on your back and completely relax. Completely relax. Feel the base of your area just at the pelvis, the base of your back, just at the pelvis. And there comes a time, in all times of great challenge, where you have matched up, where there's no more struggle. You're on the wave, E minor, A minor. You're on the wave. Allow yourself to be on that wave. Inhale now and stretch. Exhale, bring your knees to your chest, roll on your spine. Come sitting up. Now we're going to use those Saturnian major joints, the hip joints and the shoulder joints. So I inhale and I exhale. And I inhale through my nose. And I exhale through my lips. And I inhale through my nose. And I exhale through my lips. And I inhale through my nose. And I exhale through my lips. Make your movements as inclusive, as far-reaching as you possibly can. Become grand. Become grand. Become special. Not more special. Become as special as everything. Become as special as everything. That is Saturn. Gather everything. Gather everything. Become that Saturnian god, that Saturnian goddess. This is who we are. This is who we are. Gather your magnificence. Last minute. Gather your magnificence. Gather your elegance. Inhale, keep playing. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And exhale, bowing down. Lie down on your back and completely relax. Allow the sound of the gong to embrace your body's cells. Allow the sound of the gong to welcome you into your rebirthing. Long, gentle breath. Long, gentle breath. Release your feet, release your ankles, release your lower legs, knees and thighs. Release your hips, release your pelvis, release your lower, middle and upper spine. Deeply releasing the abdomen. Release the diaphragm. Release, release the lungs and the heart. Release and relax your shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers. Release and relax your neck and your throat. The bones of your face and skull. All the bones of your body, particularly your shoulder joints, your hip joints. Let it go. Let it all go. Let it go. Right down to the bone marrow, absorb the sound of the gong. begin to come back into this physical form. Roll your hands and your feet. Rub your palms together vigorously in the soles of your feet. And then inhale. Stretch like you never stretched before. Exhale and do a cat stretch left and right. And then take your knees and bring them to your chest. Roll left and right, forward and back. Come sitting up. Bring your palms together. Remain in this blissful theta state of dream time. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Your eyes closed. Bring your forehead to the floor, toward the floor. Let the blood equalize between the gut and the heart and the head. Let the laws of Saturn, lessons learned with challenge, form that matrix for your activities as we pass through the winter solstice. And with your eyes still closed, slowly coming up, cover your eyes with your palms, not your fingers. And then open your eyes into the palms. Move your hands slowly forward, gazing at the guidance of your palmistry. The takeaway from this evening is guidance is the wise use of pressure. It's like a pressure cooker. Saturn and Saturn's return. And that pressure cooker is like the winter solstice as well. And this time of just that deep, very yin, very feminine pressure of birthing. Let this winter solstice, let this Saturnian time give birth to the you that was born to be in destiny. Not the one that was born to be in mimicry. No copies here. Just the original. The original you. Deal? Deal. Give yourselves a hand. Give Hargobind Hari and all of this a real big hand.